David Dobrik disappointed a lot of fans this year after everything that came out, but one fan felt so disappointed in him, he had to tell him in person. It's a mess, so let's get into it.
Exposed. Exposed. You're exposed. You're exposed. You are exposed. Exposed, 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 exposed. You are exposed, sir. I'm going to expose you. Expose you. Oh my God, expose you.
Before we get into the tea, I just want to let you guys know today's video is very kindly sponsored by Adam and Eve. Right now, you can use code SPILL to get 50% off of one item in your cart and free shipping to the US and Canada. Some exclusions apply. Adam and Eve donates 20% of their profit to help fight the spread of HIV. They have 24/7 customer service, discreet packaging, and 90-day hassle-free returns. Love that. Once again, that's code SPILL for 50% off of one item in your cart and free shipping to the US and Canada. Some exclusions do apply. Thank you, Adam and Eve, for sponsoring today's video, and let's get into the tea. So, David Dobrik has had quite the year. He was offline for an entire year, yet somehow he managed to get into one of the biggest, yet quickest cancellations in YouTube history. David lost tons of subscribers after that huge insider article came out. He had to issue not one, but 2 apology videos. He lost sponsors, he lost his Dispo app, and he even lost monetization on YouTube for a little bit. Then, on top of all that, Jeff Woodick put out a documentary about what happened to his eye, and pretty much re-exposed David Dobrik all over again. David got a ton of backlash from Jeff's documentary, and it just furthered the opinion that David doesn't create a safe work environment for his employees. When I say David had one of the biggest yet quickest cancellations ever, I literally mean that. The backlash from what happened was huge. Before the situation, David always had a really clean reputation, and whenever his name was brought up, he usually ignored it until it went away. But he couldn't do that with these situations. The pushback from his fans, sponsors, YouTube, and his business partners was intense. He needed to address it, which is something that David never does. A lot of people thought David's second apology video was actually really good, which is rare for a YouTube apology video. It has more likes than dislikes, and a lot of people think Dom should be getting this backlash and not David. Some recent comments under his video say, "I feel he shouldn't have apologized completely for Dom. People going after David for Dom's crimes just because David's platform is bigger is messed up. Dom has still not been held accountable for what he did." David took some time off after his apology video, but now he's fully back to posting weekly vlogs. Well, since David is fully back now, he's also been doing some work-related traveling. He went to Miami to support Natalie because she was walking in a fashion show and her Sports Illustrated launch party was happening. When they got to Miami, they checked into their hotel and they were actually confronted in person by a fan. The person filming used to be a huge fan of David, but after everything that came out about him, especially the insider article, he stopped being a fan. The ex-fan captioned the video, "I confronted David Dobrik and Natalie about a question that still remains a mystery till this day. Who in the vlog squad gave the girls alcohol the night of..." At first, Natalie acts dumb and has no idea what I'm talking about, which is disgusting of an act because she very well knows. And David Dobrik tries to sneakily walk around behind me quick to the door to avoid the confrontation, but I caught him and pressed him heavily. In the video, the ex-fan first goes up to Natalie when she's unpacking the car and asked her who bought the alcohol that day and asked if it was her boyfriend Todd. She acts really confused and annoyed and walks away towards David. The ex-fan then goes up to David and tells him he's not slick with his return and asked him the same question. David said he's asking him a crazy question that no one knows the answer to, and in the background, Natalie is calling someone over saying that he's harassing them and calls what the ex-fan is saying conspiracy theories. David says, you don't know the details of what happened, and the ex-fan then goes on to say he doesn't look up to him anymore, and he actually sounds like he's getting emotional. Then the ex-fan calls Natalie out for smirking in the background. Overall, the video was very uncomfortable, and it was also crazy to hear Natalie call what was being alleged conspiracy theories. Anyways, speaking of Natalie, she went on the BFF'S podcast this week to be interviewed, and I don't think she was expecting some of the questions that she was asked. Natalie was recently on Sports Illustrated and even walked in a fashion show in Miami. So I have a feeling she was expecting to be asked more about that, but everyone was more focused on David Dobrik. Right away, Dave asked Natalie what her take was on the whole David Dobrik cancellation. Natalie seemed really caught off guard, and she even made a comment like, "Oh, thanks for getting into that one right away." Natalie said David is her best friend, and it's really what happened because he's a really great guy, and it sucks when someone who's actually a good person goes through something like this. Natalie said there's only so much that she can say right now, which makes me think maybe there's some legal stuff going on behind the scenes. Dave then asked Natalie if she stands behind David 100%, and she says yes, he's my best friend. Dave talked about how even before all this happened, he always said it was so weird how David had such a huge audience, yet at the same time, he had such a squeaky clean reputation online. Natalie says that's just because he's a normal dude and isn't doing anything shady behind the scenes. She claims even this situation was about another dude, aka Dom, and David just kind of got dragged into it. Then they moved on to Jeff Wittick. They were talking about how Jeff doesn't like the podcast, and apparently Jeff called Josh one day and was kind of like low-key him and acting tough and playing the jail card. Jeff was mad because the podcast said that he was milking his accident for views. And Natalie chimes in and says, yeah, Jeff can be a hothead. Natalie said David and Jeff's relationship is pretty much the same as it was before, and nothing's really changed between them. Then it kind of got a little bit awkward. Dave says he doesn't really remember it like that. He got the impression from the documentary that he and David had a falling out after the accident, and Jeff apparently said David uses his friends like props. Natalie got real quiet and kind of just quietly said she doesn't really know what he said in the documentary. I kind of got the feeling Natalie went on this podcast expecting to be asked more about herself and the work that she's doing, and less about David Dobrik and Jeff and everything that happened. She got really quiet, and it was hard to understand her whenever she was asked a question about Jeff or David, and she really seemed like she didn't want to be there in that moment. Someone in the comments even said, I feel like they didn't really ask any good questions about her or her life or what she's planning on doing in the future. I understand she is an extension of David, but I wanted to know what her goals were apart from the vlog squad and him. A lot of comments under this video are actually not in favor of Natalie though. People feel like she really brushed off and minimized David's involvement in certain situations. She did so much talking, but said so little. Of course she's VP and manager of David Dobrik. She will defend him till the end. She's nothing without him. Is everyone essentially okay with the fact that Natalie minimized all the reasons why David got canceled into blaming Dom for that one instance? Does it not kind of take accountability away from David's second apology if the people surrounding him are feeling this way for him? I'm so put off by Natalie's continued support and commentary on the issue. It's disgusting. Let's be honest, she's never gonna say the truth because she's profiting off her friendship with him. She's making bank with this, so she'll never admit anything. Same with the rest of them. I think if Natalie has this mindset that David did nothing wrong and it was all some other guy who's mostly at fault and David's just a good boy that got caught up with the wrong person, I wonder if the rest of the vlog squad also feels that way. More specifically, David. Anyways guys, let me know what you think about everything down below. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up button because it really does help my channel, and I'll see you next time.